So this is our second lecture of chemical thermodynamics. Now we are starting with laws of thermodynamics. First of all, we discuss question number 1 of lecture 2, that is define zeroth law of thermodynamics. So what is zeroth law of thermodynamics? This law states that if system A is in thermal equilibrium with system B and B is in thermal equilibrium with system C, then A and C would also be in equilibrium with each other. So if A is in equilibrium with B and B is in equilibrium with C, then A would also be in equilibrium with C. This is our zeroth law of thermodynamics. If A is the brother of B and C is the brother of B, it means A and C both are the brothers. So this is our zero law of thermodynamics. Then we come to the second question. Define and give applications of first law of thermodynamics. Now what is first law of thermodynamics? There are a number of statements of first law of thermodynamics. First, the most accepted statement is energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, although it can be changed from one form to another form. Or whenever some energy disappears in the one form, the same amount of energy appears in the other form. It means energy is undestroyable. Then it is impossible, this is our third definition, it is impossible to construct a perpetual machine which can work without consuming energy, without taking heat, without consuming fuel or energy of the universe that is conserved. So these are the four definitions of the first law of thermodynamics. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, although it can be changed from one form to another form. Second is when some energy disappears in one form, the same energy appears in other form, and we cannot construct any such machine which can do work without consuming energy. Energy of the universe that is constant. Now we come to the mathematical form of this law. Let us take a system whose internal energy is E1. It is given the heat Q. Now system changes its state and its internal energy becomes E2 equal to E1 plus Q if some work is done by the system. Then it lost some energy, then E2 will become E1 plus Q plus W, and that is minus W. On the other hand, work done on the system, in that case you will write E2 equal to E1 plus Q plus W. Or in other words, we can say E2 minus E1, that is equal to Q minus W, or Q plus W. That is delta E equal to Q plus W or Q minus W. So internal energy change, it is equal to the heat change minus the work done or work done on the system, then it is called as plus W. If it is work done by the system, then it is called as minus W. So this is the mathematical form of first law of thermodynamics, which states that total energy change of the process that will be equal to the sum of heat change and the work done on the system. If it is work done by the system, then it is the difference of Q and W. Now we have the applications of this law. The most important application is Hess's law. which states that uh, when a process is carried out in one step or through number of steps, the enthalpy change that does not change whether it is done in one step or it is done in two steps. Enthalpy change that can never be changed. This is Hesse law. We'll study this law in detail after knowing some parameter which will be used in this law. Internal energy change, enthalpy change. So let us first discuss the important parameters. First of all, we take internal energy. It is defined as the sum of different forms of energy possessed by the virtue of existence of a body: kinetic energy, potential energy, vibrational energy, rotational energy, translational energy, nuclear energy, electronic energy. All types of energies, if they are added, which are existing in the body by virtue of its existence, that is called as internal energy. So internal energy, it is defined as the energy possessed by a system due to virtue of its existence, that is internal energy. Then we have the internal energy change. Second definition is delta E. It is equal to final internal energy minus internal energy. So it is the difference in the energy of the system when its state is changed at constant temperature and constant, you can say that it is done under constant temperature and constant volume. So delta E, that is equal to Q2 minus Q1, or it is given by delta U is equal to U2 minus U1, or sometime it is given by delta QV, since heat change at constant volume is measured. So this is also given by QV, or it is given by delta U, internal energy change. So heat change at constant volume is called as internal energy change. Then we have the next definition, that is called as enthalpy or heat content of the system. Enthalpy or heat content is equal to internal energy plus work energy of the system. So H is equal to E plus PV. E is the internal energy of the system. PV is called as pressure, volume, work energy of the system. So enthalpy, it is both of internal energy and H, both are state functions. So characteristics. E and H, both are state functions. They depend upon the state of system. Second is absolute value. Each cannot be determined. Because whatever the act you are using to determine absolute value of internal energy or enthalpy, some energy is lost during that process. That's why we cannot determine the exact value of these two. Then we have fourth, relation between delta H and delta E. Now let us take a system whose enthalpy is given by H1, it is equal to E1 plus PV1. If state of the system is changed, then H2 will be E2 plus Pb2. The state is changed at constant pressure and volume and constant temperature and pressure. We can do that. So H2 minus H1, that will be equal to E2 minus E1 plus P constant V2 minus V1, or this is delta H at constant temperature and pressure. This will be equal to delta E at constant volume, P delta V. And in place of P delta V, we can write delta E plus delta nRT, because we know PV is equal to nRT. Then P delta V volume changes and delta N will also change. Now if delta N is 0, then delta H will be equal to delta E here. If delta N is positive, then delta H is greater than delta E. If delta N is negative, then we can write delta H will be less than delta E. So these are the conditions under which delta H and delta E, they do not remain equal. Values of these two, they change. So this is regarding the enthalpy change or heat content of the system. So we can define delta H also, fifth definition, enthalpy change. That is delta H. So delta H at constant temperature and pressure, this will be equal to H final H2 minus H1. This is also given by QP at constant pressure. This will be an temperature. This will be equal to QP2 minus QP1. So this is enthalpy change at constant pressure, that is calculated by knowing the final enthalpy and the initial enthalpy of the system. So after doing this, let us now define exothermic and endothermic reactions, and after that we will be discussing Hess's law of constant heat summation and its application. So our next question will be, what are exothermic and endothermic reactions? So what are exothermic reactions? Exothermic reactions are those reactions which are accompanied by the evolution of heat. For example, carbon is ignited to give CO2 gas. Delta H is 393.5 kilojoule per mole. So these are exothermic reactions. They can be demonstrated graphically. Initially, carbon and oxygen lying here, they have more energy, then they are producing CO2. Delta H is lost here. This is product. This was reactant. This is progress of the reaction. This is the enthalpy change. This will be negative for exothermic reactions. Then we have endothermic reactions. They are accompanied by absorption of heat. Heat is absorbed in this process. For example, we have N2 plus O2, 2NO. Delta H is 180 kilojoule. This is endothermic reactions. Now, how to represent endothermic reactions? In endothermic reaction, heat content of the product, they are more than those of reactant. So N2 and O2, they will come here, and this is 2NO is produced. Delta H is plus 180.7 kilojoule per mole. Again, this is delta H, enthalpy change here. Here we have progress of H. So these are exothermic and endothermic reactions. Then we come to the application we left. We will now discuss that application. Now, what are the applications of Hess's law? Application of first law of thermodynamics. Then we have what is application of first law of thermodynamics. That is Hess's law. It was given by G.H. Hess, who was a Russian chemist who gave this law. He said that heat change or enthalpy change in a chemical reaction is same whether it is carried out in one step or it is carried out through number of steps. The enthalpy change cannot be changed. So now we have the big application of first law of thermodynamics, that is Hess's law. Now, what does this law state? It states that whether a physical or chemical process is carried out in single step or one step, or it is carried out through number of steps, the enthalpy change, that will not change, that will remain same. Let us take A, we are going A to D.